Hello friends, it's Sunday and it's in my kitchen. I'm Philly and you're coming to me live. Today I'm making a dish that has eluded me, and if I'm being honest, part of the reason it has eluded me is because of its popularity. So I just found that it was such a popular dish. It's the Marry Me chicken, that sometimes when things go viral, I don't know if you feel this way, but sometimes I actually don't want to try it because I don't know, I just kind of get in this whole, oh my gosh, it becomes almost, I'm too old to say it becomes uncool, but it just becomes kind of overdone. So I, for the past few years, have seen tons of recipes on Twitter, on YouTube, and then more recently, I still see them on Instagram, and it's for this Marry Me chicken. And at this point, there are so many versions of it. There's pasta versions, there's versions that go more to the original. People put their take and spin on it, which is awesome and creative, and I love it. But I just hadn't really wanted to make it. I have to say I'm a normal human being in that I am intrigued every time I would see it, like, is it that good? I don't know, just questions like that would go in my head. So when I was thinking about February, I don't know about you, but if you are experiencing cold right now with the winter, like we are here in the States, I love soups. Soups to me are just one of the ultimate comfort foods. And I thought, oh my gosh, I think this would be great in a soup. And maybe that's how I could approach it. Now, I'm sure there's many others that have turned this into a soup, but I just kind of thought, like, I want to turn it into a soup. Hubs and I love soups. And this would be a great meal to make for anyone you care about, whether it's someone in your family, whether it's someone you're dating, whether it's your spouse, and just to show them you care. Because I do think a lot of us cook, and when we cook, we cook to show our love. To me, it's like one of my love languages. So today, I'm going to be showing you my version of Marry Me chicken soup. So I'm really excited to do this, and I'm excited to also get the chance to kind of see the flavors in action and see how delicious they are. Also, I'm noticing on my YouTube, so by the way, thank you so much for hopping on, and please like this video or the stream if it's the kind of content you like, and also be sure to share and subscribe just so you don't miss anything. We have a lot of streams coming up this month, and some little videos that'll be sprinkled in there as well. But the new way it's showing is it shows me a bigger screen of what's going on here, which is nice to kind of see everything's going well, but I can't see the chat that way. So I'm just trying to figure out how to do it so I can kind of see everything well. And it's not going to let me. So it's fine. It's just funny because YouTube has changed things a little bit and how I'm seeing everything. So welcome to the stream. Let me tell you a little bit about this recipe. So its original recipe was created, and this is one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to go down that rabbit hole and figure out where did it start, who started it. And it was created a few years ago in 2020 by Lindsay Funston, and she was an editor on delish.com, which is a very popular food website, and they're all over on the different, social media apps, and they have lots of different content that gets out. Anyways, she was making this dish, and she calls it Tuscan style, which is true. I just saw, actually today, I think Tara made a Tuscan style chicken dish over, and I think she's in Australia. So she made that for dinner. So Tuscan style, we kind of think creamy, flavorful, a kind of a take on it. And she made a chicken dish. And when she created it, her video producer at the time tasted it. And he said that I would marry you for that chicken. Well, he wasn't being totally serious, but it felt that good to him. So after that, she decided to name it Marry Me Chicken. And then, at this point, it has attracted so many millions of views, and not only the views, but iterations and changes and forms. And I'm now going to be contributing to one of them. So I will say, if something is that popular, there has to be something good in it, right? So with Valentine's Day coming up, with February being the month of heart health and love, if you so choose, I think it's a great month to be making this soup. So one of the most important components of our soup is chicken, and you'll see I'm going to really stick close to her first iteration, like how she created it. I'm going to stick very close to that as a soup, but certainly there are so many different takes on this, and we'll talk about them as we go. But the first thing starts with chicken, and I'm choosing to do chicken breast. I love chicken thighs. You could totally do chicken thighs in this, but I'm going to stick with chicken breast for this one. I don't know, I just like the prettiness of it. I'm going to chunk this up, and I just like it to kind of look super appealing. It's not going to have a lot in the soup, so I kind of want each of the components to look good and look very appealing. So Barbara, hello. How are you on this February weekend? Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's February. So Barb, have you ever had Marry Me Chicken? I'd like to know that. And if anyone else wants to pop in, say hello, and that's a question. Or if you're watching this after the video is made, I'd like to know, what are your thoughts on Marry Me Chicken, and what do you do with it? What are your spins on it? So before I cube this up and get this started, I'm going to actually just get my pan warmed. I'm wearing red. It's kind of maroon for the occasion, and I'm wearing my heart earrings just to kind of bring a little love into it. I'm sure Archie, if he is able to pop on, he will groan at that. But chuckle, chuckle, Archie. But here are the chicken breasts. And the other ingredients we are going to be using, and the ones I'm definitely going to be using, and so some are different from the original recipe. By the way, you know I never keep you in the lurch. Down below in the description, I not only give a link to the original recipe, I also give you a link to the article where I found the information about how it started. And I also am listing the ingredients I'm using today. This is my first time making an iteration. You know me, I like to live on the edge. I know these ingredients will taste really good as a soup, so I feel comfortable doing that. I also know we can make mistakes. I want to show you a live home cook, how you might approach it, and this is how I'm going to approach it. So after the stream, I will go in and try to put some approximations on amounts for anyone cooking this soup. By the way, cooking the soup, I'm cooking it really to serve 2 people. Since it's just Hubs and I could double what I'm going to do today, so we'd have leftovers, but today I'm really cooking for generally 2 servings. And that will involve 2 smallish chicken breasts. The chicken breasts I have is about just under a pound, so it is going to be a lot of chicken, but I kind of want that to help fill me up. We're also going to have some bread that we bought at Servino's, which is in New Jersey, but more to the ingredients. So in addition to our chicken breast, we're going to be having garlic in there, red pepper flakes for a little heat. The key ingredient is sun-dried tomatoes, and that's something that's going to be really important. So we're going to be using sun-dried tomatoes. We're also going to need chicken stock. We'll talk about that when the time comes, because there's so many options now. Stock, broth, reduced sodium, all this, so we'll kind of talk about that. Fresh thyme, although you could definitely, per our discussion last time with Archie, you could definitely use dried thyme. But I'm actually going to just tie up my thyme and just dump it into the soup while it's cooking, and then I can just pull it out. And what ends up happening is oftentimes a lot of the thyme comes off, but I am reserving a few to put in towards the end. Not like at the end like we might do basil, but just more towards the end to make sure I do have some of those little definite leaves of thyme in there. And then I'm going to share a hack that I use to help thicken things without adding fat, but I am going to add some fat because that's part of what this dish is known for, the creaminess. So I'm going to be using heavy cream sparingly, and I will let you know about how much I'm using, and again, put that down below later. I'm also gonna, so it's a soup, and I was like, what should I put in the soup? There's so many things I could have put in. The idea of this dish over mashed potatoes or with roasted potatoes is so appealing. Also, I've seen many iterations where they put this dish over pasta of all sizes and shapes. So I had a lot to choose from. And what I landed on is something that I feel like brings them both together, and that is potato gnocchi. Now, you could use Trader Joe's cauliflower gnocchi, but I'm actually using regular potato gnocchi. You can often find it in the freezer, but this is shelf stable, and this is at my local market, River Wards, and they're just, when they cook, they're quite tender, so I really like these ones. So that's going to be my starch in there. And then we're going to be finishing off with some fresh basil, some Parmesan. We'll be using olive oil as the oil, and I'm going to do a little bit of extra virgin olive oil on the top just to finish it off. So those are the ingredients. I don't know about y'all, but I always have a ton of these Parmesan rinds. Whenever you use Parmesan Reggiano cheese, do not throw away the rinds. They are great putting in soups and stews and sauces. So I'm actually going to put one of those in my soup today just to flavor, and then we'll fish it out before we eat the soup at the end. So let's get started. And Barbara said she hadn't, but it sounds great. And question about dried spices. Keep hearing they have heavy metals. Oh, you know what? I have heard that. And I think actually Consumer Reports did a dive into it. So that would be what I'd recommend you looking into. And I do think, so my takeaway would be we all have seen, you know, spices and herbs in a variety of costs. And so what I would want to lean into, and thank you for bringing that up, Barbara, what I would want to lean into is the companies that are doing the spices and what their processes and regulations are for making sure that doesn't happen. But that's a really good point. And sometimes there are some spices and herbs available that are really, really inexpensive. And I'm not saying that those are ones that do, but I do think I remember Consumer Reports doing a deep dive into it. So thank you for saying that. And I'm going to take a peek into that. And we can talk about that more at a future stream after I've had a chance to look up some of that information, because that's a really good point. I like that. And Archie, where are the fries? I know, no fries today, but we are going to be having some potato gnocchi in our soup. So that'll be our potato component. So we're heating up our pot here. And by the way, Archie, maybe you can speak to this. Barb brought up a great point that we've been hearing about dried spices and herbs having heavy metals in them, and that showing up in some studies. So wondering what your thoughts and what your information that you've heard about that, if any. So would love your comments on that. And you're also to teach American people how to say herbs. Is that better for you, babe? Herbs. There we go. Yes, I think, and we'll see what Archie has to say. So these are two chicken breasts that I bought at my local market. Actually I think there's actually 3 small ones there, but it's just under a pound of chicken. You know, it's not that you need to have that much chicken for a serving, and while I'm making this for 2, I don't know if we'll end up eating it all, but I'm trying to think. We've not had a lot of protein today. The only protein we've had is in the scrambled eggs. So I also feel, and I guess there was a little bit in the cheese, but so I feel like a lot of that is balanced. So seeing as that I've not had a lot of protein today, I have no problem kind of giving myself a good dose of it in the soup. But one of the things I love about soup is that I also feel like it is a great way to stretch food, because my towel fell. Once we're talking about putting, you know, a lot of ingredients in a broth, it really does stretch them out. So certainly I could also use this much chicken to double my recipe. So what I love is that you can definitely do this your way. Even once I put amounts below, you do what works for you and your family and your budget, you know, all of those things. So I'm just going to take these pieces of chicken and I'm just going to cube them into fairly the same size so they have a chance to cook evenly. Let me just get this. I've already washed my hands. Let me get this put away. And of course now they're getting ultra chickeny. And as I mentioned, while I love chicken thighs, I do want the look of the chicken breasts for this. So first I'm just cutting them into strips, and then I'm going to cube them up. And again, just trying to get them to be all about the same size. So Archie, have you heard of Marry Me Chicken, and have you made Marry Me Chicken? Just curious. Barbara has not. I have not. This is my first delve into it. So just cubing them up. Let me see here. So I cannot even tell you, and Barbara, I hope it is where you are. It has been, and I'm sure it is, the most delightful Sunday. We have had so much clouds, lots of rain, but it's even just the cloudy dreariness that has been getting to me. So today, bright sunshine. It's absolutely beautiful in the city. Super deep, dark blue skies. We just had the best walk this morning, walking around the city. Sometimes in the chicken breast, by the way, you want to look here near the one side. There's like, it's from where it's connected to the other side of the breast. And sometimes that's a little bit, I don't know if it's a tendon or what that's there. I don't think it's a tendon, but it's just a little tough. So that's one thing I always try to make sure I trim off. This chicken that I bought is usually trimmed up quite well, but I do see that that's there and I do not want it because it just tends to not be a good mouthfeel. But it is delightful today. I took some really pretty shots. It was funny. I haven't been bringing my, I found one from a previous breast. I got to take that out. I actually haven't been bringing my camera around for the walks Hubs and I've been doing because it's been so dreary. I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. Like I thought, oh my gosh, everything is gonna look the same color, right? Like when it's gray and dreary. So just washing my hands right now. I have my pan heating up behind me and I'm gonna add some olive oil to that and get these going, give them a little color. So let's do that. Let me see, get my olive oil. That's one thing I didn't get out. And then I actually think, I'm trying to think, I do want to bring y'all over. Let me just get them going first, then I'll bring you over after they get some color. So I'm just gonna get some olive oil in here. I don't know, like I'm hoping this olive oil will be fine for everything. So I probably have a tablespoon in there. I don't know if I have more than that. And then I'm going to, one second. Just want to get that all around my pan. So since it's just for Hubs and I, my pan is going to be quite small, and this one does not keep cool. Does not keep cool handles, and unfortunately, I feel like it is not ideal for the live stream because of the color and the size. But we will just have to do. And I promise I'll bring you around. You can hear the pan is nice and hot. And put that in there. And then what I'm going to do is just get them all along the bottom. So we can all start getting some color. And we'll get some good flavor. And then I'm just going to season them with some salt and pepper. Like I said, I'll bring you all over in just a little bit to get them going. There we go. Eugenia, welcome. You've heard lots about the chicken and never made it. Yes, I think you're on team never have made it today because Barbara's not made it. I don't think Archie has made it. I'm trying to think if I missed it. Maybe you said. Yeah, I don't know if Archie said. Archie, have you made it yet? And I have not made it. But I mean, it is just everywhere. And I did see when I posted it, there were people like, yes, it's delicious, really good. And Archie's talked about the heavy metals and herbs. He said most organic brands have low percentage of metals, but I'm not sure there's any that are metal-free. Arch, do you know why we're finding the heavy metals in the herbs? I'm just curious if you know. Because Barb brought it up. I know I've seen articles. I haven't delved into them. And then, oh, DS. It's, oh, we just, you know what? You were so missed, my friend. Wonderful having you on. We were talking about heavy metals in herbs and spices, in the dried ones. And just what do you know about that? Any information? Would love you to share. And by the way, for those of you who are watching this video after the stream, please, I will try the last video I did it the week after is I will go in and put timestamps. So if there aren't timestamps here yet, just give me a couple days, check back, and I'll have timestamps because a live stream is not a quick cooking video, but the timestamps will help you jump right to where we do certain things, you know, in the video. So like this, we just put the chicken in, got it, we're getting it browning, but just as a heads up for anyone joining and not familiar with the live stream format. And Archie said, get some pots on the window shelf and get planting. Yes, yes, I have some live herbs, my friend, right? And Barb said, I read they all have it except for 7 spices. Really interesting. Archie says he didn't make this dish yet because he doesn't want to be married. Oh, Archie, you're a hoot. I love it. Yeah, you're right, Eugenia. Kind of, I think that's with so many foods, you know, really just if we can, now it's hard in the city to take care of all of it by yourself, but with some of the things. And then DS says, I've done a bit of research on those metals. California did a study and only Simply Organic, which I buy a lot of that, Simply Organic passed. I don't use pre-made spices anymore. I grind my spices from scratch. It's also less expensive. Excellent. And Barb says, Archie, are you afraid they'll say no? Oh my gosh. We are a little spicy here on the stream today. So let me, this is not a nonstick pan. So the good news is I will get lots of flavor on this pan that will go into my soup. But let me just show you kind of where we're at. There we go. We're getting our chicken browned. Let me bring you all over. Let's see here. And you can see I have all of the ingredients over here. So just let me get you over here and then I can turn you all around. Don't you just love the cabinet view? That's a great view. That's what you came for, friends. Everyone came for the cabinet view. Okay, so I need to get you closer to this. So let's see what we can do. I just definitely need to make sure I can get into the pot. So I think that is going to have to do. And I'll try, let me get my little thing here since this is, so far we're just browning this, just getting a little bit of, not really getting any good color here, but I need to turn that up. Let me try to get a little bit more color on this. There we go. I'm going to put a little bit more salt there. Let's see, turn some of those. And then we're going to be adding some garlic. Now, it's so funny. You remember how the garlic I had the last stream was in bad shape. Well, don't you know, got groceries this week, totally forgot to get garlic. So it is going to be the tube. So friends, you too can have a tube just in case you don't have fresh garlic. So I'm going to put a little bit of that in. I put more than that. I probably put about 2 cloves. I love garlic. And in a soup, Hubs will handle it quite well. And I'm just going to stir that around. Now garlic, you do have to watch and make sure it doesn't burn. It's also helpful that we have quite a bit on this pan, and it's also not screaming hot, so we should be fine. All right, so we are going to start adding some of the other things. So we have our garlic right there. I'm going to add my red pepper flakes. They are going to give some heat to it. Now, in the recipe, I think for all the chicken, there is about 1 teaspoon. So knowing that, and for a soup, and the fact that Hubs and I love, you know, red pepper, I'm going to use a 1/2 teaspoon. I also know that my red pepper flakes are quite spicy, so you have to know your red pepper flakes. Sometimes I've had some that must have not been fresh, and so they aren't so spicy, but these ones I know have some good spice. So we're going to just let that get going. It smells good already. And then we're going to be adding, after we get the red pepper flakes, we are going to get our tomatoes. So I'm going to bring you over here because I do want us to take a look at our tomatoes. So come on over here, friends. Look at this. I haven't quite done this before. Let me see. I just want to make sure I can get in. And you know what? I'm going to go this way. That way I can cut without feeling like I'm going to be, you know, totally. And you get to see my cute little socks. So these are the tomatoes. We're going to be using sun-dried in oil. And I'm going to use this for bread later. So I'm going to use this little one I have. And I know I have a fork around here. I'm turning that down because I don't want that garlic to burn. And so I'm going to get out for my soup because we're not having a lot in the soup. So I'm going to do, I think, probably more like it's probably more than 1/4 cup but I'm feeling like 5 would be really good. So I'm gonna chop them up. Let me get a new knife, since I have chicken all over my one knife. Oh, wait. See, you know what? You try to do something because it makes sense. And I forgot, I put these scissors here because they're just, sun-dried tomatoes are a little chewy. So I'm going to actually use my scissors. I forgot that that was my plan. You have a good plan and then you forget you even were planning it. So you can definitely use a knife, but I use my kitchen shears all the time. And these, of course, I just save for food things and I wash them. So I'm just going to get these chopped up because I want this yummy tomato flavor to go all through. Sun-dried tomatoes are a great hack for giving instant flavor and a little bit of color. So I'm super excited about this. By the way, I wanted to know, I'm going to make Archie roll his eyes. I wanted to know, what are your thoughts? Well, first of all, what are your thoughts with Valentine's Day? My brother-in-law considers it a Hallmark holiday, which it is, but I am just a sap. So I have always enjoyed Valentine's Day, sometimes not so much when I was younger, if there was someone that I was sweet on, but, didn't even notice me. So I'm going to take these and let's go bring these over back to our pot. We're going to try this little method here. There we go. That worked quite well. And I'm just going to add these in. But this week, Hubs and I were talking about Valentine's Day because we went out to that romantic dinner last night at a really yummy place in Philly called Bistro Romano. And I said, what do you want to do? Because I've often, probably the dish I've cooked the most often is lamb chops. However, I said, why don't we do something a little simpler this year? And I got the idea from watching The Kitchen this week. You all know I am a definite fan of watching The Kitchen, and I got an idea there. But first, let's go back to what we're doing. So we have added, just to catch up, we got our chicken browning, we added garlic, we added red pepper flakes, we added sun-dried tomatoes chopped up. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to be adding the stock. And that's important because we are going to be adding that's a good stock discussion. Okay, talking stock. This is the stuff I picked up at the store. There's so many options right now. I do like stock. I tend to feel like they are more flavorful than just the broths, but a broth would be fine. My only advice is I know you all know this that are talking to me right now on the stream, but if you get a broth, get low sodium because they are very high in sodium. Now this stock, I actually wanted there to be some salt. This one was unsalted, but I wanted stock, so here's where we are. So I will need to season this. What's kind of nice about using this though, so I'm going to put all this in, and I'm going to get up my heat. What's kind of nice about using an unsalted or low salted stock, which is part of the reason why you do it, is it gives you the power with the sodium levels. By the way, now I'm going to add just, I don't know, like a little bit, maybe a cup more into here to gather any flavor, and pour that also into the soup. There we go. All right, there we go. But back to what we were talking about, then you control the salt and seasonings because all of us have different needs, right? Like, I've talked about how I do need, now I can do special meals, but generally speaking, I need to watch my sodium for high blood pressure, so that's important. And we all have different needs, so you can then control to your taste and to your salt, like what you prefer. One of the things we can use in here, if it needs a boost besides salt, is I have that Better Than Bouillon chicken stock, so I can always use that. But first, let me get some string because I would like to tie my thyme together. So I'm just going to cut off a little bit of string. This will make it so much easier getting it out of the soup once I'm done with it. So I'm going to take my little thyme that's right here. I'm going to take my thyme with my thyme, right? And I'm just going to tie it. Put it down here. Just tie it into a knot and dump it in, and then this can begin flavoring it. There we go. So that's going to go in, and then I can fish it out easy. That's a great hack with herbs if you're using fresh herbs because it's easy to fish out. And then I'm going to put one of these lovely rinds, Parmesan rinds, because I'm going to be adding Parmesan at the end, and that's a great use of it. It can add flavor to your soup. There we go. So I want to bring this up to a boil and then get this simmering and getting some good flavor. There we go. Now, at this point, I want to talk about what you could have done. So what we could have done after the chicken or before the chicken is we could have also chopped up some onions, some carrots, really whatever vegetables you wanted to add to this. Like I said, I'm kind of sticking to the original recipe so far as what the ingredients are, but you could definitely veg this up. You know I like a veggie heavy soup. Just for today, I'm keeping it a little more pristine, so it's going to be a little simpler, but just keep that in mind. So since there is not much to look at right now, I'm going to bring you all back so we can chit chat while this is doing its thing. So let me bring this back up here, and let's get you all back. And I'm also going to turn on the oven because we're going to have some bread with it. So I want to get that oven warmed so I can put the bread. And I see the chat has stuff going on, so I want to check that out. So let me get my oven on first. I'm just going to put it at 350. There we go. So let's see what I've missed. Oh my goodness. Lots of chit-chatting. I love it. So, Archie is talking more about the marriage, which I'm sure you are getting a lot of letters, by the way, Archie. At least, especially here in the States, like you and I have chit-chat about this. The ladies love an accent, so I'm just saying. Oh my goodness, you guys are hysterical. So, I'm probably alone in not being a fan of sun-dried tomatoes. No, that is a very fair point. So I enjoy sun-dried tomatoes. I wouldn't say that I love sun-dried tomatoes, meaning that I cook a ton of dishes with them, but I do enjoy sun-dried tomatoes. I like the intensity of flavor that you get from them, but the consistency is very chewy. So I think sometimes with people, it's a consistency issue, so I'm not sure. You'll have to let us know. What you might want to try, Eugenia, and you might already do this, is oven. I've done my own oven roasted tomatoes. Where you do them at a low heat just to shrink them down. It intensifies the flavor, and I should just do a video on it sometime. And they're so delicious to add to so many things, especially burrata and basil with some oven roasted tomatoes that have like shrunk down and intensified in flavor. Absolutely divine. So that might be a good choice. I know out here, one of the great grocery stores, Wegmans, they actually have oven roasted tomatoes that aren't the chewy intensity of a sun-dried, but they do have like so much more flavor. So that would be a good substitute. So if there's anyone else that's like Eugenia and doesn't care for sun-dried tomatoes, that would be an option. Or you could just use tomatoes in it, right? You could just use tomatoes and go from there. But I'm telling you, if you oven roast them at a low temperature, and just look up oven roasting tomatoes, and you use a lot of olive oil and some salt, it really makes it delicious, and that would add like that nice, really tomatoey hit that you might enjoy. So just a thought. Archie, right? Oh my goodness. Eugenia says, we generally let Valentine's Day go unnoticed unless they put seafood or steaks on sale at the grocery. True, that is true. Some good sales to be had for Valentine's Day. And Archie said, my mailman hates me on the 14th. 37 stacks of cards and gifts last year. Oh, I'm not going to even say the other part, Archie. You crack me up. Well played, Barb. Well played response. And Archie kind of goes on, so I'm going to skip through just a little bit. And GS says, just like coffee, many companies, especially the cheaper ones, add fillers just like coffee, many companies, especially the cheaper ones, add fillers such as ground walnut shells. I now grind my own beans. Oh, I did not know that. I also grow my own beans. Just kidding about growing them. I did not know that. That's DS. I value so much, we all value so much about you, but you have a wealth of knowledge that is really appreciated. Oh, by the way, DS, Hubs found, we were out looking for your prize today, and I know in your head you're probably thinking, finally, yes, I am not quick oftentimes, but it's not that I forgot about it. It just was the timing of everything. In any event, we were out looking, and we were at this Philly store that I got your last prize because they have such essential Philly things. It's not like a touristy store. It's really actually a beautiful little store, but lots of Philly items. And I won't tell you what it is because that will be a surprise. But Hubs was like, "What about this?" And I looked, and and he doesn't have his microphone on right now, but I literally said, "That's perfect." And I was so appreciative. So I hope you and Ruby will like what I'm sending. Send him a whisk. No, I'm sending you a whisk, my friend. That's who's going to get the whisk if you win anything. So I did not grow the basil here. This is, I bought at our nearby market. This is, I think it's hydroponic basil. That's hysterical. And DS says hi, Andy. And your microphone is here if you.
What's that?
Your microphone is here whenever you want it.
It smells so good in here.
It smells good? I don't think they can hear you. He says it smells good.
I think I would marry you.
Oh, would you? Oh, well, but you already are. So maybe will you stay married to me if I keep making sure these good smells come your way?
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. So meanwhile, I'm going to get a couple things ready that we'll need at the end. One of the things is we are going to need some Parmesan cheese. The other thing is we got bread at Servino's. Hubs also picked this out. I forget what the kind of loaf it was. It was an Italian-style loaf. What was it called? Yeah. I don't think it was Barone, but it was something like that. Yeah. It was about this big. We've used it, as you can see. So I'm going to actually put this, because I know I want to kind of stay moist there a little bit, so I'm going to put this in here. Actually, I'm going to see if I can stand it up. Oh, that works. I'm going to stand it up so the cut side stays down. It goes on the stone, so I don't know if that's going to help much, but we shall see. So we're going to have some bread with our soup. Move this over. But let's get the cheese. Oh, and now my soup is boiling, so I want to turn that down. I don't want it to be a bubbly concoction. I just want it to simmer gently because I want that chicken to cook gently. Okay. All right. So let's get the cheese. Now, in a minute, after I'm done doing the cheese, I do want to start testing I know I'm going to need some salt in that broth, but I want to start testing it and kind of tasting and seeing where it's at. So I'm going to put a good amount of cheese here so we can sprinkle away. Hubs likes cheese, especially Parmesan cheese. And when we were at the Servino's, we had this woman from behind the counter said, "Oh, you got to taste the smoked pecorino cheese," which was absolutely delicious. Would you like a cheese tax, sweetie?
Yes.
I'll give you a cheese tax if you put on your microphone.
Well,
You're going to, no, come on. Yeah, because it's not going to be that much longer. It's over there to the right. There you go. Because then you're going to say things they're not going to hear you. There you are. I'll give myself a little cheese tax. Anyway, she gave us, me a chunk that was probably triple to quadruple this size. And it was delicious. And then last night, do you have it on yet?
yes.
Okay. Then last night, tell them about what happened in our meal, ironically.
What happened in our meal? Oh, smoked pecorino, no.
Yeah, the meal had a free, I think it's called a amuse bouche, which is like a little.
It was like a whipped smoked
Beginning.
pecorino.
Yeah, and we read that that's actually a thing.
Which was absolutely.
And it's an expensive thing. When we looked it up, a tub of it, now it's a 2-pound tub of it, is like $69. So anyways, it was delightful. All right. So we got that. I want to taste this and see
Gina
what I
said she's
need.
baking another trout for dinner.
Ooh, that sounds delicious. What else
Just got
are
my
you all
license
having?
and waiters. Some more to come.
Nice. What else are you all having? So let me see how this tastes so far. Woo! It's got a little spice. So I think what I'll put down below, and hit me in the back, the cream will smooth it out, but I think I'll put in below 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of the red pepper flakes because it needs salt. So just know that going in, it needs salt, okay? Just because it'll help for people that don't like the spice. So definitely needs some copious amounts of salt. But it has flavor. What's cool is the flavor will come out now by salting it, but there definitely is flavor. So I can't,
Wow. Yeah, you're right.
when I do this recipe, I actually am not going to be able to put salt on there because it all depends upon what people get as far as stock or broth. So that'll be something that, unfortunately, I just can't estimate. It really is going to have to be to taste. Maybe that's what I'll do is I'll just write to taste. But I think the flavor's good. What do you think, Hubs?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, let me try this one. I'm going to need your help with salt, by the way, because
Who's Andy going for in the Super Bowl?
Ooh,
I'm actually hoping both teams lose it.
oh, that is good.
I want to see both teams lose. Well, I
That is good.
most likely Kansas City, just because I can't root for San Francisco. But and then Archie said we had a roast chicken today. It was foul.
I thought it was fish. Got the dad jokes going, Archie. So what is everyone else having? So you your chicken, that always looks good. By the way, what we're also going to do while we're waiting, I just did a circle for no reason, is I actually am going to start picking off my basil leaves because I actually want to just drop these in and let them kind of, cook away almost like the spinach will. And the reason, now you could always chop this up if you don't care for it, but I love basil, and I kind of want the spinach or the basil to almost mimic the spinach because I am adding spinach to this. There we go. And then I want to save a couple florets to put on the top for pretty sake. I think I might have missed that. Oh, there's another one. Okay, so one of us can get, we have one of each.
Eugenia says no to the 40 whiners. I agree. With you on that one.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm a little sore that Detroit didn't win. I was really hoping, being from Philly, we very much root for the come from behind, the team, the underdog. So, yes.
And they should have won. That's the. Yeah, well.
I know, but it's easier said than done. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. All right, so poor thing, I really ripped it off. But I'm going to put this basil. So this is probably about, it's a loose cup of basil, but it's probably more like a 1/2 cup of basil, fresh basil. And this is just how I want to do it. All right, so I'm going to bring you over because I need to kind of finish some things up. So let's bring you over. Now, one of my hacks that I do for thickening soups is one I'm sure a lot of you know about, and that is I like using instant potato flakes to thicken things with less fat, so to speak. So that's what I'm going to do next. Is I'm going to get that figured out. Actually, you know what? I lied. I'm actually going to get in my potato gnocchi because my potato gnocchi will actually, excuse my body there, will actually thicken up a little bit just because of the nature of the gnocchi. So I do want to get that in first, and I'm going to need to probably put this up and I'm going to put, let me look at the calories on this, see what I want to put. 1 second, friends. I should have looked at that ahead of time, and I kind of just like to go with it. Let's see here. 1 second. There we go. Let me see. I'm going to put, I think, 2/3. Yeah, that's plenty. I don't want any more than that because I do want some broth. I might just put a couple more. I probably put 2/3 of this bag, and this bag is 17 ounces. So I did about 2/3 of a pound of gnocchi in there. There we go. And then I want to have this come back up so those can soften. Those cook quickly, so they don't need a lot of time. In fact, if I look at the specifics, it says as soon as they float. That's what gnocchi usually do. Meanwhile, I'm going to also mention we're going to be putting spinach in here at the very end, and we're going to be adding our cream. So those are kind of some of the last minute things. Let's see here. And as you can see, let me bring you closer, you can see. I'm always mentioning, and I know a lot of you know this, but for anyone that doesn't cook a lot, I want you to see what happens to the thyme that we made into a bundle. See all those green flecks? The thyme leaves have all come off of the stems that we put in there. So it's kind of an easy way in a soup or a stew, or even if it's a pan sauce, something like that, to, with little effort, tie it together. And then look, we can just take this out. I'm not going to take it out yet, but it's just nice. It flavors it. And I do think putting the whole shebang in there just kind of helps flavor it too. I want you to test the sauce and see how. See, I've got a Parmesan rind in there, babe.
I do.
For some flavor. Okay, there you go. Let's give Hubs a taste. Tell me the seasoning. You're going to need to check again after I do the cream because I also feel like that kind of affects things. Oh, I love gnocchi. Absolutely. Eugenia, we don't hate you that you're a Steelers girl. Absolutely. Do you know that? Okay. Hubs just went, Well, you know me. Anyways, I do not hate you. My niece and her husband live in Pittsburgh. And while my niece is a definite Eagles fan.
Well, she did a stream with you.
Yeah, my niece, but Bethany, she's an Eagles fan. She also, she's a Pittsburgh girl, so she roots for them as well. And fun fact, I think we've mentioned this, the quarterback, Roethlisberger, he went to the school I went to, Miami University, and we are not a football school, so it's always exciting when you actually have someone, that makes it in sports from your school. Okay, so we're just bringing this up. I'm going to actually fish out this because I think leaves have come off. I think we're good. We can fish that out. 1 second. If you want to put that in the trash. I'm just trying to get this up because I want my gnocchi to cook, and I want to see what I'm going to need. And I will not forget the Parmesan.
In my
a little more?
viewpoint, a little
more salt?
More salt.
Okay,
yep.
I'll put some in right now because then we'll check it after the cream. There we go. All right. So we can, just checking the salt, always a good plan to check as you go. There was a little bit of salt we had put in when we were doing the chicken, and then we added more since the broth had nothing. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually, because my gnocchi are floating, I'm going to start adding some potato flakes. Now when you get potato flakes, if you're going to use it for thickening, get the plainest ones you can find. Do not get, and I really like this brand specifically, do not get the ones with the red potatoes or the herbs. I mean, you can, but it's just going to add more to your actual dish, which you don't necessarily want. So then I'm just going to, and I'm going to estimate, I'm going to start with a tablespoon.
So I missed. Why?
It's going to help thicken the soup.
Oh,
so we can use less cream because I'm always thinking about our health, right, love?
All right.
So this is just, so I put a tablespoon in. So I just want you to see, so you can see there, it makes it look a little cloudy, right? So that's 1 tablespoon. And I love Idahoan because look, it's more like powder. So this is like a perfect use of this. But these are just plain mashed potatoes. So that's 2. Oh, look at my Parmesan. It's starting to come off. See that? It is getting ooey gooey. But you can even tell how it's boiling, that it's changing. So I did 1, 2, and I'm going to do 3. I think 3 is all I'm going to want because I don't want it to be a stew. I want it to be a soup. I'm just trying to limit how much cream I use. So let me show you that. So you can see now the broth, it just looks a little bit richer. I don't know if you can tell that. Let me taste it. Ooh, it's delicious. And it really goes with the fact that we're having potato gnocchi. So, and I could add more if I want it thicker. I actually want it to be quite brothy. I just want it to have some body. That's what I'm looking for. All right, so now it's time for the cream, and then we're going to be doing the spinach, and then we're going to be plating it. So I'm going to get my measurement only because I want to make sure I give you guys the right idea of how much I'm using. So let me get my little cup measurement out here. Move you back. Okay. So I'm picturing about 1/4 cup of cream That's what I was originally thinking I was going to be adding to this much. So let me get my measurements here.
By the way, Archie had herbs.
He had herbs.
Yeah.
Yes, he is not happy with the way I
He's
say.
not sure how. Yeah.
He's not happy with the way I say herbs. Okay.
He told me to zip it. So he said,
here we have a 1/4 cup of cream. And again, you all can add however much you want. I mean, cream adds a mouthfeel, cream adds body, and but it's kind of like for me and Hubs, we just try to err on the side of manageable cream, if that makes sense. Okay, let me turn that all the way down. Let me taste it. Oh, I'm telling you though, that cream, just you gotta taste it. It just changes the whole profile. So I'm gonna move you all back. Oh no, I'm not gonna move you back first. First I'm gonna let Hubs taste it. You can rinse that off.
What?
Oh, you don't have to. You were rinsing the other one off, so I figured you thought I had cooties. Let me get you a closer shot. Now I'm gonna put spinach in. Because, and for Archie's sake, I decided not to do kale. Isn't that good? It is a little spicy. Oh, sorry, friends. I don't know. We had like an earthquake there. You can just see how.
It's definitely spicy.
That is definitely spicy.
It's good though. The cream really adds something.
There we go. All right, so now the spinach time. So I will say, and I think she intended the original dish to have some bite to it. It definitely does. Just and not. I mean, we love it, so it's all good. But just letting y'all know. But I will definitely put a range there. So then I'm going to put. It's probably like half of this package that I had. So I'll tell you about how many ounces. Spinach disappears. It's like mushrooms and onions. Once you cook them, they just get so tiny. So I would say this whole container is 5 ounces. So I probably put 2 to 3 ounces, probably 2 ounces, because I think I actually used more than half of it before. 2 ounces of spinach in there, and it's going to become like nothing. What I love about the spinach is it adds color, which I think makes the dish pretty. You have the red of the sun-dried tomatoes, you have the green of the spinach, and now I'm going to add my basil, which is also going to add flavor. So there goes my basil. Just let that get in. So all the yumminess, and I got to get that Parmesan cheese thing out. There we go. So let's find it. Let's see where that guy is. Whoop. There he is. Look at this.
Is that the rind? The rind?
Yeah. I'm going to put that on our tasting spoon. There we go. There's the rind. There it is. We're going to take that out. It has done its job. It is all gushy now.
Is it rind or rind?
Rind, R-I-N-D. Oh, this looks fabulous. So yummy. Okay. All right. So friends, let me bring y'all back. Delicious. And let's plate this up. And so you can see, it does not take long to cook. And it probably could have taken less time if I wasn't talking so much. So this is a definite weeknight meal. It could be for Valentine's this year if you wanted to do that. There we go. And as Hubs said, the aroma is delicious. Hubs, I'm going to let you put this away if you wouldn't mind, just because I want to get that back in the fridge. And then this is going to be for the bread. I'm going to get the bread out. And that's for, just get these out.
What?
Oh, there's our bread. Hot, hot, hot. Asbestos hands. Whew. Oh, that is toasty.
Still don't know how you can do that.
Well, I've just burned myself so many times that that's how I can do it. All right. So let me just tidy this up a little bit. And actually, would you do me a favor? Would you mind opening up the Chardonnay that's in there? It is February, so I can have some wine with it. I'm so excited. All right, so let me bring the pot over.
This one? Yep.
Yes, please. Thank you. And then one of your mama's glasses.
Okay.
Here's my other pot holder. Here's the soup. Yum, yum. Let me get a ladle. And then I have here, oh, yum. And then I have here the Parmesan cheese. So, you know, I feel like the cream and the potato flakes. That can be all to your taste, right? But yes, yummy. Okay, so let me get one of these plated up so you can see. Get some spinach in there. You can make it as creamy and as decadent as you want. We just prefer, like a little balance. We like to splurge, and today we didn't want it to be as heavy, so to speak. So then to this, I need to move this, get my things. All right, so here's our pot. It's a great little soup pot. I need to move us over. There we go. Okay. Turn that off. So here is our bowl, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to get some Parmesan.
It's tasty.
Of course, you can put as much or as little as you want. There we go. And then a little drizzle of olive oil. Extra virgin will be lovely as well. So let me bring y'all over to see that. There you go. The chicken is hiding. That little scoundrel chicken.
Ruby says, hello, Philly.
Hi, Ruby. How are you? Thanks for hopping on. Let me show you that chicken. It is in there. They've all settled now to the bottom. Oh, so you got our chicken and our gnocchi. So they are in there. Do you want to bring the spoons that are at the table so we don't dirty extra spoons?
Sure.
There we go. It is ready to taste. Ooh, that's good. It's a Lima.
I know. I already had some.
Well, it's going to be screaming hot, so be careful. I'm going to first just taste the broth now that it's all finished.
It's kind of intimidating when you say it's going to be screaming hot.
Oh, that's really good. So, what I like about having only a quarter cup of cream in there is this makes it like a weekly soup meal.
Wow, that's good.
With how much broth we had, you could totally put a cup of cream in there, and that would make it more mouthfeel, more decadent. But now I want to get
cheese on it.
Yeah, I put cheese on it. Now I want to get some with the.
I'm gonna get a gnocchi.
I want to get some with the tomatoes and the spinach. Whoops, making a mess. That's delicious. Now I'm going to get one with chicken and gnocchi. But I think
That's so good.
that's just lots of flavor.
That's really good.
And the spice to me is not, it's less than it was. The cream really helps temper it. But for people that don't want spice, I would say use a quarter. Or don't want a lot of spice, I would say use only a quarter teaspoon as opposed to a half.
I think I want to marry you.
You think you want to stay married to me?
I do.
Ooh! Ooh!
It's hot.
So combining the chunk of chicken with the gnocchi was kind of a mistake because I got two big hot things that went in there. The gnocchi are so good. They're like little pillows in there. I mean, they are delightful.
Yeah, it's really good.
Let me try to show you. Just these little pillows in there. Whoops, I'm dripping. We'll clean up. Little pillows as I drip. And those gnocchi in particular, I don't know if they're available where you are. They are my favorite potato gnocchi that are shelf stable.
Oh,
they are absolutely delicious. Did you get the chicken yet? Chicken's hot, be warned.
Chicken's hot?
Yeah, chicken's hot. Excellent. Really good. It's going to be a good dinner. So we're going to just have it with some of this bread that we're going to cut up. I did want to tell you a couple things coming up though. Sunday, next weekend, continuing the love theme, I'm going to be making a recipe that we can all love, and that is some cinnamon rolls. But I'm using my grandma's dough that I'd made with the pecan rolls. So I'm really anxious to try that dough into the cinnamon rolls. And so I'll be doing that next Sunday at 1 o'clock. And very thrilled. I'm also doing a hack on it that I've been seeing across social media, and I'll let you know about that hack. You'll have to wait and see and tune in. That should make them even extra delicious and indulgent. but for Valentine's Day, why not, right? And it'll continue the theme of a way to a person's heart is through food. But the other thing I wanted to let you know is, if you noticed when I dropped my schedule, one of the things that's later this month, I think on the 23rd, is French food at home aperitifs. So I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of background. I'm actually going to probably make a little short video just to give people the background of that. All year, once a month, I'm going to have a French food at home stream. And what I'm trying to do, where did I put the book? One second, friends. What I'm trying to do is I am a cookbook hoarder. Right, hon?
Oh my God. She has more cookbooks than
I love cookbooks. And I also love reading cookbooks. So I used to watch Laura Calder on TV. I forget what channel she had. I think it was the cooking channel. She had a show on. And I loved watching her cook. I love the French food. And I wanted this cookbook. So either you got it for me or I bought it for me. I literally went through this entire cookbook and I was like, this food is amazing and we got to cook this food. I didn't mean like we, I meant like me. I'm like, I got to cook this food. I got to cook this food. Did I cook anything from this book?
I don't think so.
No, I didn't. And it's not that it didn't impress me.
It's not that it was that difficult, right?
No, and it's not that it didn't inspire me. And some recipes are more difficult than others, but she makes it very approachable. But I just did not. And that's kind of what happens. So I don't know if that happens to y'all, but it definitely happens to me. So I'm going to focus on this book the rest of the year because Paris is having the Olympics. So in honor of the Olympics being in Paris, France, I'm going to do French cooking the whole rest of the year from this book. But what makes it hopefully fun for you and engaging is you're going to help pick. So I have chosen 3 different aperitifs for you to choose from. I'm not going to tell you yet, but I will be posting them on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Twitter, and doing polls. And then I will compile those polls and decide the recipe based on what people choose. And then you'll decide what's going to be on the stream. So be on the lookout for the video talking about the French food at home for this year at Philly Philly, and for the poll that's going to help choose the aperitif. All right, so friends, I hope you look forward to that. And I appreciate Barbara, Eugenia, Ruby, and DS, and Archie, and Greg. Hey, Greg. Yes, I know, right? This bread's getting involved. This is going to be great dipping in that soup. Thanks for joining, Greg. And I don't think I missed anybody else. If I did, I'm so sorry. I will catch you when I close the stream. Thank you so much for coming on. And until we eat again, have a great week, friends. Thank you for the kiss, Hubs. See? Archie, don't scowl. Bye, friends. Have a great week.